A morning at the office. Mr. Pepper, a middle-aged Business man. Miss Barton, his secretary. Miss Smart. Mr. Pepper is in his office, reading his letters. Miss Barton hurries in. She is about 55, with gray hair and clothes that don't fit very well. Late again, Miss Barton, late again. It's 17 minutes past 9.
I know, sir, I'm very sorry. You see, last night my mother didn't sleep very well, and…
I am not interested in your home life, Miss Barton. But please don't be late again. Remember that this is your last month here.
Oh yes, I remember.
Now, what has been arranged for this morning? Have I got to see anyone?
Yes, sir. Mr. Long is coming to see you at 11 o'clock, and Miss Smart at 11:30.
Miss Smart? Who's Miss Smart? What does she want to see me about?
About the position, sir, my position. She answered the notice you put in the paper saying that you wanted a new secretary.
Well, I hope she's better than the girl I saw yesterday. She was not suitable at all. She hadn't even had any experience. But I must have somebody to take your place.
I hope this young lady will be suitable, sir. She said in her letter that she had plenty of experience. Are you ready to answer the mail now, sir?
Yes, and be quick. We've wasted half the morning already. It is 20 past 11 and Miss Barton is working in her own office, which is next to Mr. Pepper's office. Miss Smart comes in. She is a pretty, well-dressed young woman of about 22.
Good morning, I'm Sally Smart. I've come to see Mr. Pepper about a position as a secretary.
Oh dear, I'm afraid he's busy just now. He has someone with him in his office. Will you sit down, please? I hope he won't keep you waiting very long.
Oh, I don't mind waiting. It will give me a chance to have a nice talk with you. When I'm looking for a new position, I always like to have a talk with the employer's last secretary. I learn more about him that way than I do from the man himself. Now, tell me all about your Mr. Pepper.
Well, really, I don't know what to say. I don't think I ought to talk about my employer.
Do you consider him a good employer generally?
Oh, yes. I shall be very sorry to leave him.
What are his faults, or hasn't he got any?
Well, he's not perfect, of course. We're none of us perfect, are we? He doesn't remember things very well. Every day I have to tell him exactly what arrangements he has made for the day.
Oh, that doesn't matter. I like men who need to be looked after. But what do you consider his worst fault?
Well, he does get angry rather easily.
Oh, he gets angry, does he? Does he shout at you?
Well, yes, when I do something wrong. But I don't really mind, because I think he's sorry afterwards.
I see. Tell me, Miss
Barton. Margaret Barton.
Tell me, Miss Barton, why are you leaving Mr. Pepper? Are you tired of being shouted at?
Oh, no, it's not that. I'm sorry I mentioned it now. I don't expect he would shout at you.
He certainly would not. If my employer started shouting at me, he would soon find himself without a secretary. Have you decided to give up work?
Oh, no. I must go on working. I need the money. I have to keep my mother as well as myself.
Well then, have you found a better position?
In fact, I haven't found another position yet. It's not so easy to find work at my age, you see. I'm over 50, and no one wants an old secretary. But I'll find something. I'm sure I'll find something in the end. Now, I hope Mr. Pepper won't keep you waiting much longer. It's very kind of you to take an interest in me, but...
Miss Barton, why are you leaving your work here?
Well, to tell you the truth, Mr. Pepper doesn't want me anymore. He said I must leave at the end of the month. You see, I'm not very quick at my work. I'm not clever like you young girls. And then I've been late a number of times during the last few weeks. He doesn't like me to be late. He doesn't like it at all.
But he can't send you away just for that.
It's not only for that. I've been making a lot of mistakes in my work. I made one terrible mistake. I put 2 letters in the wrong envelopes and posted them to the wrong people. One of the people telephoned to say what had happened, and of course Mr. Pepper was very angry. That was when he told me that he wanted to get a new secretary. I was quite surprised at first, because I know how much he hates changes.
I see. Now, you said that you had often been late during the last few weeks. Was there any special reason for this?
Oh, yes. It was because of my mother. She hasn't been at all well, and sometimes I've had to sit up half the night with her. That's why I find it difficult to get up in time in the morning. I think that's why I've been making so many mistakes in my work, too.
Doesn't Mr. Pepper know about your mother?
No. I've tried to tell him several times, but he doesn't seem very interested. Oh, I can hear Mr. Pepper's visitor leaving now.
Well, Miss Barton, I'm very glad we've had this little talk, very glad indeed. Now I shall know what to say to Mr. Pepper.
Oh, I'm sure he will like you.
We can never be sure about anything. Mr. Pepper hates changes, you said, didn't you?
The door of Mr. Pepper's office opens, and a man comes out. Miss Barton goes to the door.
Miss Smart is here, sir. Would you like to see her now?
Yes, show her in. Miss Barton brings Miss Smart into Mr. Pepper's office and goes out, shutting the door. Good morning, Miss Smart. Would you sit down, please? I'm sorry to have kept you waiting.
Oh, that didn't matter. I was having a nice talk with your secretary, Miss Barton. She's a wonderful person, isn't she? You must be very sorry to lose her.
Yes, of course. Now I want.
She was telling me about her poor old mother. She said she was up all night last night with the old lady, but of course people don't sleep very well at that age.
At what age?
91. I think she said the old lady was 91.
Oh. Now, Miss Smart, I want to ask you some question about yourself.
Yes, certainly. but perhaps it would save some time at first you read this letter from my present employer.
She passes him a letter. Mr. Pepper reading to himself. Miss Smart is a very fast but careful worker. She hardly ever makes a mistake. Good, good. She has a pleasant manner. She always shows interest in her work. Altogether, she is an excellent secretary. Well, this sounds very good indeed. I think you are just the sort of girl I need. Will you be satisfied with the pay I am offering?
Oh, yes. It's the same as I'm getting at the moment.
Tell me, Miss Smart, why are you leaving your present employer?
Well, I don't want to talk about that. The poor man is very sorry now for the way in which he acted, but of course, I don't wish to work for him any longer.
I understand. Well then, Miss Smart, can you start working for me at the beginning of next month?
Do you mind if I ask you a few questions first? You see, I have to be so careful in choosing a new employer. I often look at 3 or 4 before finding a suitable one.
Well, really,
Do you take your secretary with you when you go away on Bucina's trips?
I don't go away on Bucina's trips. I let other people come to me.
Good. I don't like traveling about with my employers. Do you smoke? I had to leave my last employer because he smoked 30 cigarettes a day. I can't work in a smoke office.
Well, I smoke a pipe.
Pipes aren't quite so bad. I think you could smoke one a day. Now, what time do you have your tea in the afternoon?
At 4 o'clock. But why?
Well, I'm afraid you'll have to have it at 3:30. I like my tea before 4.
She is looking round the room.
I can see that a number of changes will have to be made here. That table ought to be moved. You can't keep those papers there. You need some new pictures. I don't really care for the color of the walls, do you? Well, never mind. I shall make all the necessary changes. Yes, Mr. Pepper, I have decided to accept your offer. I think I shall enjoy putting this office in order.
But I don't know if...
I shall be here at 9 o'clock on the 1st of the month. Goodbye, Mr. Pepper.
She jumps up and goes out quickly. Mr. Pepper sits for some minutes with his head in his hands. Then he raises his head and smiles. He calls Miss Barton.
Yes, sir.
Miss Barton, I want to ask you something.
Yes, sir.
Miss Barton, will you stay on here as my secretary?
But I don't understand. I thought Miss Smart seemed such a nice girl.
Miss Smart may be an excellent girl, but she and I could never live in the same office. Now, do you agree to stay on?
Oh.
Her feelings are so strong that she is unable to speak. I'm afraid I spoke a little angrily to you this morning. You know I often speak without thinking. In fact, you know all my little ways. Well, what do you say? Miss Barton is still unable to answer. I shall of course raise your pay a little. Shall we say £1 a week more?
Thank you, sir. I shall be pleased to stay on. Very pleased.
That's good. Now, I want you to write a letter. Miss Barton sits down, and writes while Mr. Pepper is speaking. Dear Miss Smart, I am happy to inform you. No, what am I saying? I am sorry to inform you that I am not now able to offer you a position as my secretary. My present secretary has now changed her mind. What are you smiling at, Miss Barton?
Nothing, sir. I was just thinking of something. Yes, sir?
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos for learning English. Like and share with more friends.